Welcome to episode number 297 of the Keep Up Podcast.
Where every time you visit the doctor, ask them if you have Brett and Tim disease. They'll know what it means.
I don't know what it means.
You shouldn't.
Oh.
It's better not to have it than to have it and not want it.
It's better not to Of course it is. What? It's better not to have it than to have it and not want it? Doesn't that go for literally anything? If you having something
$1 million.
Having something and not wanting it is always better than not having it.
What if you don't?
No, wait. Not having something is always better than having it and not wanting it.
$1 million.
You're right. No, because if you have $1 million and you don't want it, you'll give it away. So that's actually better.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's something that's good to give away.
Actually, maybe a lot of things are good to have and not want rather than not have, because then it'll become a charitable situation.
Right, no matter what, because you want to get rid of it. But what if you choose to burn it? Then that's $1 million gone.
Well, then, I mean, that's on you now. I feel like we have some character qualities to discuss.
Yeah, because some people will choose to burn it. They want chaos.
Yeah, that's true. Some men just want to see the world burn.
Is that true, Master Wayne?
But we can't both.
We can both be Alfred.
Yeah, but you can't refer to me as Master Wayne if I'm also Alfred. The Dark Knight, but everyone has Michael Caine's accent. Right, Joe. The argument in the hospital. You and your little girlfriend. Right, Joe.
Why so serious, Master Wayne?
I am an agent of chaos.
Oh, no.
I watched that movie. I
want that cut. Oh, that's
How
funny.
many of your friends did I kill?
I want the whole series like that. Not just, I want Bane. I want everybody to sound like a Michael Caine.
I was born in it. Some people, what were we talking about?
Wanting it, not needing it.
Oh, yeah. No big deal. Welcome to the Keep Up Podcast, where I'm Brett and Tim is Tim.
That's me.
Talking about all the things we consume, be it media or food. And I saw a clip the other day of an actor, I forget who it was, I'm so sorry, shout out to that actor who's definitely listening, is going to be offended, and mentioned how he didn't like using the term consuming when talking about art.
Okay.
Because he didn't really specify, but it was in an interview, and he quickly said, I don't want to say consume.
Consume, I guess, is aggressive for it, but that's how a lot of people... Nice. That's how a lot of people take in media nowadays. But that's true. I call it media, not art. And is that a problem?
Well, it's because I think it depends on the context. Because sometimes when I talk about... I consider the things we talk about to all be art.
Yeah.
But sometimes that sounds pretentious.
Right, when it's like calling a movie a film.
And I think it has a specificity to it where if we were where we talk about all the art we consume, people would be like, oh, these guys talk about fine art.
Right, like fancy stuff.
Yeah, right?
But we're not fancy.
We're not that fancy, bro. So I don't know, it's just a word. I have some updates.
Okay.
Number one. These aren't all updates, they're just little stories I'm going to tell.
I like little stories.
One update actually is that carnivore is hard.
Carnivore.
The carnivore diet.
Oh, yeah.
Did I tell you I was doing that?
Yep. I meant to ask you before we did the podcast how it was going.
So Rach and I were doing it. It was going to be temporary anyways. But the hardest thing, because I used to do keto for anyone who doesn't know, and that really I didn't find too restricting. But that I was doing really long term, and this we were just doing short term for various health reasons. And it's so hard to just have meat at the ready.
It's exclusively meat, too,
yeah,
right?
It's just, it's animal products, so there's a little fluctuation there. Some people, I was including cheese, but some dairy products you definitely aren't supposed to do. And I just we can't afford this. We got halfway through the week, and she was like, "Are you hungry?" And I'm like, "I'm hungry." And I ate a ton of eggs, and then halfway through the day, just random ham in the fridge, and for dinner she made a meatloaf one night, and we both ate 2/3 of the meatloaf, and then later it was just like, so that's it, I guess. Like, there's just no more.
Right, no like snacking, because there's not, unless you get like beef jerky.
Right, which we did, and we slaughtered the package in like a few
So
days.
Are you finding it makes you hungrier?
I think, well, the thing is, you're supposed to be able to eat to like satiety. Like, until you're full, you're good. You can eat. You're not supposed to have to like calculate calories or anything like that. But we just didn't have enough.
Yeah.
So I was hungry. Like, we were both hungry because we're like, the people who can legit do this can afford like steaks for lunch and dinner every day. And not always. I mean, you're supposed to be able to eat like whatever quality of meat you can get, but we just didn't. We tried to like have enough in the house and we just didn't.
Yeah.
So we're doing like modified versions of what we were trying to do now. But after a week, we were both like,
You're hungry and poor.
Yeah, yeah, dude. And some days it was like, it wasn't that hard. But then near the end of the week, it was like, we're out of meat.
Yeah.
Like, I ate a slice of ham.
You guys didn't like buy exclusive meat because you knew you were going on the diet?
Well, we bought a little bit extra, but then because it's all we were eating, we went through it so fast. And then we're still buying the other stuff and making like full meals for the kids.
Yeah.
So, and then there just ends up being like leftovers of stuff that the kids aren't eating enough of.
And you're like, we can't waste it.
Yeah, it was just like a funny experiment. It was like really.
It seems
really
hard.
difficult.
I mean, because meat's not something that's like you can snack on. I mean, you can have it for different meals and stuff, but like most of it you have to prepare in some way unless it's jerky.
That's the hardest thing. What I found to be the easiest was breakfast, because I would make like eggs with cheese and a meat.
Yep.
But then like lunch, I'm at work and I'm like, I don't have just like a bucket of meat with me, you know? I was ill
And then
prepared.
if you go to a place like, restaurant, you can get a burger, but all you'll want is the patty.
Yeah.
And that's not a lot like anywhere.
No, it's not enough. And then that's why you end up spending more.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I need the bigger whatever it is. So, carnivore is hard, man.
Yeah.
Shouts to people who do it.
So are you guys doing it still, or you've modified it?
Yeah, we've modified it. So I'm doing meat and veggies, which is not carnivore at all, obviously, but for at least this week. And then she's doing, I forget exactly what she's doing.
Because she was doing it for health reasons, right?
Yeah, and she still is. So there are some things she knows she needs to avoid. And she's also doing it in prep for her surgery. Which comes, that's next week. Next week's going to be insane.
Yeah.
It's the Slipknot show. It's her surgery. It's, what else? There's something else. I guess that's enough. You know what I mean? If you have a Slipknot show and surgery in 1 week, I mean, what else could happen?
That's such a full week for you.
Yeah, that's a lot. My mug says best mom ever.
Nice.
I had Jazz play Silent Hill with me last night.
Okay.
Jazz is my son, for anyone who doesn't know. I was curious on multiple levels. How do you feel about this game? Because, dude, a game like Silent Hill, I guess we could talk about this in video games. I just thought it was interesting to bring up.
It's part of the story.
A game like Silent Hill versus a game like he's playing Valorant right now. So, like, he's just always playing multiplayers. Fast-paced, mega colorful, no puzzles.
No, right. No,
you know what I mean?
puzzles,
So I'm like, all right, dude. It was what's today? Yeah, it was Sunday afternoon. I was like, Jazz, I'm gonna go play a game for a little bit. You want to come watch with me? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, so it's an old school game. You've heard of Silent Hill, right? And he's like, yeah, I think so. And I'm like, I also want to know if this scares you at all, because obviously, like, the graphics
are not.
It's PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
But it's still creepy to me. Like, when I play it, I'm like, this game is still scary.
Yeah, because it nailed that atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere.
You don't know, like, when the creatures show up when you're walking around Silent Hill from the fog and everything, dude.
Absolutely.
It's still scary.
Atmosphere's great. So I was at the school, and you don't need the context if you guys don't know, like, about the locations and stuff. It's fine. Stay with us. It's fun. We're having a good time.
It's all good.
Don't call your mom and go home from the sleepover.
Not yet.
You know how some people did that? Did you ever do that?
I must have.
I must have, too.
I'm pretty sure I've done it.
I remember one night I was at a sleepover and I wanted to call mom, but we didn't. I mean, we were kids. I didn't have a phone or anything. And we watched Independence Day that night before bed. And then we fell asleep. And I was used to having a nightlight. And this was a sleep in the dark home. And then there was a thunderstorm.
Oh, my God.
I was like, the aliens are here. I'm done, dude.
This is it.
This is it. I'm getting abducted at Sean's house. And I have no way to call my mom.
How did you not, how did you survive?
I laid awake. I laid
night?
awake, surrounded by other bodies.
Yeah.
All just pleasantly sleeping in their sleeping bags. Dude. Or we were all silently awake and just didn't want to tell each other.
Terrified. Yeah, I'll never forget the first time I slept over a friend's house, and we were always a TV on. Like we would have the TV on or just some kind of noise or whatever. So when I slept over, and I believe it was Omar's was the first house I've ever slept over. And they were a silent house. Everything has to be shut off. So when we went to bed, the TV was on, and his mom comes in and shuts it off, and I'm like, what do you mean there's no TV?
Yeah, what are we doing right now?
Terrified. Couldn't fall asleep all night.
I don't think I realized for a long time that not everyone does that.
Yeah.
Like, I would always go to sleep to, like, Nickelodeon or whatever.
Yep.
And I'm curious if that's common at all. If you guys are watching, comment and let us know, because I'm really curious how many households went to sleep with the TV on. I know a lot of my friends didn't even have TVs in their rooms. It was kind of a luxury that we had.
Yeah, because mom always said she wanted us to have independence, so she put a TV in her room. I mean, nowadays it sounds like she just wanted us to be on our own. She goes
she wanted her to have independence,
right? Yeah. So she plops a TV in her room, and we're all set.
It's for your own good. Here's Cartoon Network.
But I always had like game consoles growing up connected to the TVs and things like that. So it was my escape, and I, to this day, I still love being in my room.
Right, yeah. That was the move probably, because I'm now experiencing my kids both playing video games, and they want to hang out in the living room, and I literally, like, it's a good thing I have a studio, because I legit, if Rach is watching a show and Jazz wants to play Fortnite or something, I have to, like, go into my studio and hook up my PS2 if I want to play Silent Hill. I have more than a PS2, but if that's all I had, it'd be fine. It's one of the best consoles ever.
So Jazz was watching you play the game.
So Jazz comes in and he hangs out, and he's funny because he definitely he doesn't get distracted. I don't know. Maybe he does. He'll randomly say something. Like, he's starting football this year, right? So we'll be like sitting down. I'll be talking to him, and I'll be saying something to him. And then as soon as I stop, he'll be like, yeah, man, I can't wait to start football later this year. And like, we weren't talking about football at all.
Yeah, he just brings it up.
So I guess what I'm trying to get at is his brain isn't too all over the place, but he is a YouTube kid and stuff like that. So sometimes I'm not sure. So that was part of why I was like, hey, it's a Sunday afternoon. Come watch me play this game.
Yeah.
And he comes in and he's randomly talking about stuff, and he's spinning in my office chair. And he's like, Dad, I'm going to spin around and see if I land facing the TV or not. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like locked into the game. Like, I'm interacting with him, but I'm like trying to get in. And I keep, after like a half hour, I'm like, what do you think of this game? And he's like, it's pretty cool. And I was like, are you scared at all? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay.
All right.
So I'm like, dude, you don't have to watch if you don't want to. And he's like, no, I'm going to stay. And I was like, okay. So he stays, and I played for probably an hour and a half, and he hung out in there like the whole time. And at one point, I didn't realize we weren't in like the Silent Hill portion yet, like it hadn't turned, and then the school turns and the music changes, and there's another creature do you remember the little baby ghost creatures?
Oh yeah.
So they make this loud squeaking noise, and it got,
the whole time I thought it was mice running around.
Yeah.
Every time I go through the school, I'm like, where are these freaking mice?
Right, because they're hard to see, and it triggers the radio that alerts you that there's enemies nearby, but they don't do anything to you.
Where are the freaking mice?
Yeah. So that squeak got Jazz real good.
Really?
It was the first, he was like, oh, all right. That kind of scared me a little bit. And then I mentioned, I was like, dude, this is like the OG Stranger Things. Like, it's like the upside down when it changes. And he was like, oh, I'm going to ask Sim if she wants to watch Stranger Things. So he texted Sim right away and was like, hey, you want to come watch Stranger Things? And then I was like, you can go watch it now if you want. And he's like, no, I'm not leaving until you like are done or whatever. And I was like, okay. So he was kind of locked in.
Yeah.
The graphics didn't turn him away. He only got scared once, but he didn't get to see like the intro and the alley and stuff like that.
I know. You can't just plop him right in the middle.
Yeah.
But it's very much akin to when we were kids and we would watch, like my dad play, or I would watch you play stuff. And it is interesting because at the time that was state of the art.
Right.
That was like top tier stuff. So
yeah,
it's an interesting experiment to see how he reacts to that. Now you should play something more modern and see how much that scares him more.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Poor Jazz being experimented on.
I'm just seeing where he gets scared. Well, I was also curious about his attention span because that game is so slow going and puzzles and all this stuff. And we got to the piano puzzle, which has to be one of the hardest puzzles.
I always look it up.
Dude, it's so difficult.
It's just annoying. All the puzzles in that game, like as great as the game is, those puzzles can be rough.
Yeah, oh, for sure. The piano one's just one of the like all-time. It's a poem about birds, and they all coordinate to broken keys on a piano and their distance from one another. And you have to hit them in the right order. It's just insane.
Plus, you have to find the pieces around the map. It's not like you just have the one poem. Like, don't you have to go find different parts or different...
the overall puzzle... I'm going to nerd out here for a second, guys.
You should.
So here's what happens. You go into the lobby of the school, and you find 3 notebooks that each have something written in blood. We walked through this whole puzzle. So I was kind of, as I was finding pieces, I was like, Jazz, do you know why this is important that I just found this thing? He's like, because of the notebook? And I'm like, yeah, do you remember what it said? And he like didn't remember, and I told him. He was like, oh. And so, sorry, you get that.
Yeah.
As we were walking through, I was seeing if he was connecting the dots, because it's insane. It's insane that this was a puzzle. And like now we can just look it up. But so you find these 3 notebooks on the first floor of the school. They're all written in blood. One says 5 o'clock, something about like the darkness that brings the most devious heat or something weird like that. I'm butchering it. And then there's a second notebook that says 10 p.m., something about a laboratory, an old man's hand grips something, or the sun, something about the sun and a hand, and it's just like, it's super weird. And then the third one says 12 o'clock, and it's something about, a room that brings sound. And that coordinates to a clock tower that you find out in the middle of the school. What's that called? The courtyard.
Yep.
And you go out there and it says a certain time. And then you have to go multiple floors to find 2 different rooms that coordinate to the 12 o'clock and 10 p.m. And then each of them has a puzzle. One of them has an object that you have to find another object to interact with and take the thing from that.
Dude.
And then the other one is the piano puzzle.
Yep.
And then the third one, the 5 o'clock clue, is just a button you have to push in a room on a different floor. It's insane.
It's crazy. It's a good thing that the game has stuff like that, because it keeps you playing for a while. It keeps you solving these things.
Yeah.
But good Lord, am I happy games have like maps and things nowadays. Now, granted, Silent Hill had a map.
Dude, not only did it have a map, I think it's one of the best maps in video game history.
It's really, really good.
It marks everything for you. It shows you where you can and can't go as you progress through the game. It's the best.
It's true. It's a really, really good map.
I want a tattoo of the map.
Which one?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Actually, you know what would be a cool tattoo is the keys when you pull it up, and the ones that have you know what I'm saying? And birds sitting on it.
Ooh.
The birds that, with the poem.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more thing for the intro. This could technically be in reflections. We don't need an extra transition this week.
No,
Are we going into reflections for anything?
I don't got to.
All right, me neither. So last week we had the funniest. You probably didn't get to hear it because you don't listen to the podcast.
Dude, I listen to it every week. What do you mean?
We recorded on Thursday last week, which is the day before the podcast usually comes out. And was it also, we saw Deadpool last week.
Yep.
So we went to the movies, came back, recorded 2 things, and then I went home and I was like, shoot, the podcast comes out tomorrow. I went to sleep because it was late and I had to get up at like 4 or something. I don't think I did. I think I got up at like 5 or 5:30. And I was like, I got to do the podcast. So I edited it super fast.
Yeah.
And of course, I misplaced. So I have a template where I like edit the podcast, and I accidentally didn't remove one of our bumpers from last week. So during movies, we're talking about different Marvel movies and stuff. And I mention the Captain America Black Panther game that's coming up. And right during that, in the middle of our conversation, the video game bumper plays. It's like, video games.
That's actually perfect.
It was so funny because it's literally, I'm like, do you know about that? Like, and you're like, the Captain America Black Panther. It's like, I'm like, why is that transition there?
Dude, that would be the coolest transition.
I don't know why it showed up like at that moment. It was just really funny that it's right when we start talking about games, but it totally interrupts everything. So it's edited now. But if you happen to listen to it,
if you were an early listener, you got that.
Sorry about that.
No.
But I thought it was funny. I think I overhyped it in our notes. I said like the funniest podcast edit in history. It was clickbait title.
He scared me. I was like, what did we do? I don't even remember.
Yeah, no, it was just like I've done that before. What's the word?
Unequivocally.
Yeah, it is what I was going to say, but it doesn't make sense.
Unmistakable?
Without fail. Whenever I'm rushing, there's some mistake. I don't fade our music in or out, or I leave a transition, or I don't know.
I still don't know how you edit the podcast, because I always see like you have a million. It's all the transition sounds.
Yeah.
So it's funny you just have it all layered, like how I'm looking at it right now. You have like one all the way at the end, and it's funny how you have them in there.
Yeah, dude, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, you have your own system, and I'm not going to judge it.
No, dude, you better not judge it.
No. But those are some fun stories.
Yeah, I don't know. I just got a bunch of stuff going on, you know?
So yeah, keep me posted on Jazz, because I want to know, because like when I think about a lot of the games or movies I saw as a kid, those movies and games I still really like now because I watched them as a kid, even though they terrified me.
Right.
I think it was a little bit of like mystery. So you should curate Jazz and give him a crash course on a bunch of horror games. And then when he's older, he'll be like, what were those games I watched my dad play?
Yeah.
And then he'll go through them and have a great renaissance.
Yeah, I mean, I was also partially curious because the graphical changes, like from then till now.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we grew up with Super Nintendo and stuff. And the way graphics evolved from Super Nintendo to like the PlayStation era was just different.
Yes.
Because, like, yeah, we had full character models, but they didn't look great. They were just different. Because now I'll play like a Super Nintendo game. I think they look awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was all 2D, you know?
And it's its own style.
Yeah, it's its own thing.
Yep.
So I was curious if the graphics alone would be enough for him to be like, oh, I'm all set.
Yeah,
but
I wonder if like a lot of kids are not playing older games because of that. Because I mean, really, it's. I feel bad for kids nowadays because they won't get that. I don't think there'll be anything better than what we see. There'll be like higher graphics, but the character models won't like.
I don't know how they could get better. I mean, I know we've said that in the past, but like now, I legit don't know how it could be better.
No, there are indie games made nowadays to look like older stuff.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that's like inherently unique other than like, you know, cool 2D games and stuff. Like you can always design cool characters
of course,
and unique things. But yeah, there's just nothing better than what it is right now. And I can't figure out what it could be. But maybe people are saying that in the 90s, like, oh my God, this is nothing will ever look better than Resident Evil.
I think we were, which is so funny, like the cutscenes and stuff in particular. But now everything looks, I mean, our ability to make a realistic looking person in a game is like.
Yeah, because the next step is real life. You know, like it's
scary.
And there's already games like that. You know, you have those interactive movies and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I don't know, but it is fascinating, and I wonder how much older games will be played by older generations as time goes on.
I too wonder this. Younger, newer.
Yeah, older in the sense of when I'm old.
When I was.
Anyways, instead of being, we're not singing that this week.
All right.
Let's go into movies.
Okay.
Ooh, let's go to the movies.
Hi.
Hey.
I have watched 1 bazillion movies.
Let's go. Let's talk about it.
I gotta talk. Okay, I'm gonna start with something that is a waste of time, and I'm already gonna say right now it's a sleeper. Go to sleep. You don't even need to listen to me review this. I watched a little old movie called A Ghost Story.
A Ghost Story. A24.
A24. 2017, starring Casey Affleck and...
A ghost.
Rooney Mara, I think is her name.
Sure.
Or Mooney Rara, but I think it's the other one.
Yeah, the second one sounded wrong.
It sounds a little wrong, right? So this is a story of a couple in which one departs from this earthly realm and becomes a ghost, and you follow the story of the ghost.
Dude.
I mean...
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it seems cool, right? So here's the problem with this movie. It is a cool concept.
Right.
That they go too far with it. So I've talked about it before with In a Violent Nature and Skinamarink, as we've talked about before.
Oh, shoot. I already get it.
Yeah.
All right, Sleeper, let's move on.
Really, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because it's so frustrating.
I can carry on.
But yeah, it's one of those where it's like, it's got a cool concept, and you are going to watch this movie for this concept, but they don't know what to do after like 20 minutes. And the rest of the movie is an hour and a half of just doing nothing. So the premise of this one, again, is we are watching a ghost go through the life cycle of a ghost, essentially. So he's watching, you know, his wife grieve for him and all this stuff that happens because obviously he's the ghost. And so it's about the grieving process and then what he sees as a ghost as time goes on. And it is just so boring. I just can't. You need to be in a certain mindset, and even when you're in that mindset, the movie expects a lot from you. It expects you to be able to just sit there like a ghost and just watch it and just like not do anything. Yeah. And I just could not get into it.
Do you think if it were a short film, you'd be like,
yeah, it's definitely brilliant. Short film syndrome.
It's weird. It's weird how like I mean, you can't just be a concept for that long, is what it sounds like.
Right.
I was interested to see that. I've wanted to work my way through all of like the A24 catalog.
I've been doing, I watched that in Dream Scenario, which that's the one with Nick Cage and everyone's dreams.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been accidentally watching them because they just keep showing up on Max. I'm like, I'll watch this one.
Yeah.
And that one was pretty good, but I'll wait till you watch it if you ever do.
Okay,
To talk about it. But so A Ghost Story was just, it's too artsy fartsy, too, again, expects a lot. There's a scene, and it's legit a little under 6 minutes of the wife in the movie eating pie. She's just, and it's all, again, it's
Bro, whenever I hear or see stuff like that, it just reminds me of that scene in Family Guy where they're making fun of like art house films and Peter's like dressed like a clown slowly flipping a pancake in like black and white.
Yes.
It's such a thing.
Yep. It is such a thing where they like, I don't know what the director's thinking. I get it. I get what's going on because it's, again, part of her grieving process. And it's like, early on in the movie and she's very sad. And so she just sits there and eats a whole pie. And I get it for like a minute or two. Like, she's dealing with it. But it is legit. I counted. It's a little under 6 minutes. Wow. You just sit there and she's just like,
first of all, food challenge in the middle of the movie.
Good job. Good job.
We should make one. Can we eat a pie faster than the woman in A Ghost Story?
I think we could. So it just hangs way too long on scenes.
That's unfortunate.
You're just sitting there waiting. And, again, it's one of those movies that expects you to just like run with the concept. But like you said, short film. And I've seen a lot of these recently where it's like, it's a fun concept, but stretching it to an hour and a half to 2 hours just kills it.
Yeah, it's a bummer too, because when a movie or actually I'm going to talk about a game like this later, when the concept has run its course, as the story continues, you're expecting either more of, I don't know, like if the emotional impact has run its course, then like the rest of the movie puts a sour taste in your mouth for the first chunk of it, third or whatever was interesting.
Yep.
And that's really a bummer because it is a very cool concept. And I can imagine for 20 to 30 minutes, it's like you're kind of invested. But there's a moment I feel like you cross a line where you start to think like, wait, is this it? Like, is this...
Right, it's like, where's this going?
Yeah, like there's not going to be any reveal, maybe nothing new, if you can already anticipate what's going to happen. And not even specifically with this movie because I haven't seen it, but I've definitely been in viewing or playing scenarios where I'm like, oh, I think I just realized there's nothing more for me in this.
Yes.
But you're in it already, so you're going to finish it.
Exactly.
And that's unfortunate.
So that's why I sat through the movie because I was like, man, I hope something cool happens. And...
It's what almost happened to me with
Long Legs.
And then I realized it's not that nothing else is going to happen. It's that what I thought was going to happen isn't. But this is still pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so that's a big difference when you get to the finish line and you're like, oh, what the heck?
Yeah. Like, what was that all for?
Nobody else was even racing. What the hell am I doing here?
I just did a lap by myself.
Why am I out of breath for no reason? Help.
Yeah. It is just... I found it a really hard watch. Not very entertaining. Again, the right mindset could help the movie. And I think if you're...
Yeah, what's the situation?
What do you mean? Like...
What's the mindset?
Oh, you need to be grieving. You need to... Or have gone through grief.
Oh.
I think that is the whole lesson of the whole movie.
But you've gone through grief.
Yeah, but it's done in a way where I didn't enjoy watching it.
Yeah.
It doesn't even relate to my level of grief that I've felt.
Yeah.
And maybe mine's not as extreme, or like my level of grief has never hit as high as, she does in the movie. But, so that's part of it. And then there's more about just what is life in general. Like you have to be willing to have a very open brain. And I watched this at like 1 a.m. I expected like a little bit of a scary movie or something like that. But I really can't think of a mindset where I would be into it unless I was like, yeah, just like someone I just knew or like a family member passes away and then I watch this after.
Wow.
Like
yeah.
That.
So it's got to be like really cathartic.
Yeah.
It's like a therapy piece almost.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
I wonder if it was made with that mindset. I wonder.
Probably. It feels like very much just like the
Very
director's
personal.
passion project, and he doesn't care how like scenes were made or how things were done. It was just like I made this,
which I do respect
whoever.
that. I respect when there's a project that you're like, this person clearly made it for themselves.
Yep.
Good for them. Like I'm sure quality wise, I'm sure it looks good.
Yeah, it's not like it's like a bad movie in any way. It just there was just nothing there for me.
Yeah.
It was just very, very boring.
Tim
Too
says
boring.
skip it.
Sleeper, unless someone dies in your family.
Yeah.
Or a friend.
Then play this at the funeral.
Sure, keep it in the background, I guess. I don't know. But to continue on concepts that go on way too long,
Oh, no.
let's talk a little bit about Trap. M. Night Shyamalan's newest movie, in which you follow Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
And he is, you see it in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler.
Yeah, no spoilers. If you're new here, we don't do spoilers on the podcast.
This is just strictly in the trailer. You learn that there is a serial killer at this concert, and it is revealed that Josh may or may not be the serial killer. He just has, in the trailer, he's got an app with a guy trapped somewhere. Who knows, though? Maybe he's a good guy.
Right.
Got to watch the movie. And so the movie follows him as he's trying to escape from this concert.
He's there with his daughter.
He's there with his daughter, yes. So.
He's a dad. He's not just a dude at a concert. He's
right.
a dad.
He's a dad. That's a big part of it.
Yep.
The problem with this movie is M. Night Shyamalan, I think, made a movie just so his daughter could be, one, perform a bunch of songs, and two, be a main character in it.
His daughter performs songs?
Yeah, so the whole concert is her.
That's M. Night's daughter?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so I need to do a little more research to see if she's actually an artist outside of the movie. But the movie, and they say it like if you read descriptions and stuff, it is as much a concert experience as it is a movie. So he tries to blend the two together, but you can tell he's just super pushing his daughter. Because not only is she like a big performer for like a lot of the songs and stuff, but then she becomes a major player in the story later on.
Okay.
And not so much like involved in anything, but she just like has way more screen time than you would think.
Interesting.
And so you can really tell he's pushing for her to like, this is her first movie she's acted in. This is her like, almost feels like a debut. Like, and they were really pushing her. So that was very distracting because there are many times in the movie where, Josh, he had to go back and watch the concert so his daughter wasn't suspicious of him trying to escape. And you literally watch the concert for like 3 to 4 minutes of just her singing. Which, like, they're good songs. It wasn't like anything was bad.
Does it feel weird, though? I mean, this is supposed to be like a thriller.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it's like you're taking a break to listen to it. Like, you're watching a movie and you're like, actually, let me listen to this song. And then you listen to it, and then you go back to watching the movie.
Like, I could see how that contrast could be really interesting, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like,
it's only because it happens so often and it's for so long. So I would say, like, roughly half of the movie is probably dedicated to... No, I would say maybe, like, a third of the movie is dedicated to the concert.
a concert.
Yeah. Like,
That's weird. I think the other thing that makes that weird is the concert is barely in the trailer, so there's no reason for you to expect that at all. Very interesting.
Yeah, and so it's very weird in that regard. What is there story-wise is interesting.
Okay.
But I think they just kind of, again, put too much effort into the concert. So once you get to the meat of the real story going on, it feels like they just kind of like run out of ideas and they're like, okay, let's do this. Oh, let's do that.
Sad.
And it doesn't build up to the right amount of tension. And maybe it's because you're being ripped back and forth between the concert and that, so you're never fully like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Sure.
So yeah, it was a little disappointing in that regard.
That's a bummer, man, because I've always been a huge M. Night fan, and I've even been pro M. Night when people were like...
You loved Avatar. You can say it.
Oh, dude, shut up. I always forget that movie even exists. The one that comes to mind for me is The Happening. People really hated on The Happening. And
yeah, that one's like weird, but not
It's
not
weird,
bad.
but I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
Like I remember watching it and not really having a problem with it. I also know there are people who don't like Lady in the Water. I really liked that movie. I just always loved the way he told stories, and I thought he was just a really unique writer and director.
Yeah.
And so it bums me out when something like this is, especially because I felt like he was on a comeback.
Yeah, a lot of his stuff was doing pretty good. And not to say this didn't do good. I mean, if you look at reviews, it's like 5 to 6 out of 10s, and that's what I would give it.
Do we get an M. Night signature in there? No.
Nope. I feel like this is a movie anybody could have made.
And so are you saying it's a sleeper?
It's hard to say because
Tim's on a warpath lately.
I know. I'm destroying everything.
Nothing is safe.
Because when we say a sleeper, it's like a definitive don't watch.
Don't
this.
watch it. Take it off the list.
Yeah, and I don't think it was bad enough to be a sleeper.
Okay.
Especially with like how disappointing certain aspects were, and so it's a little bit of like what I expect from M. Night. It's a little bit of what you expect from the like story, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. There's just things
Like
that,
from what you know from the trailer already, you're saying?
Yeah. And maybe a little too much might have been revealed in the trailer because a lot of the scenes you see in that, you see obviously in the movie.
Yeah.
But it is a big portion of those scenes. Like everything new to me was the concert.
Yeah.
You know, he goes like into the bathroom. You know, like there's a lot of things that you see in the trailer that you're like, okay, I've already seen this. So going through it in the movie, because it happens so infrequently, you're like, okay, what's new here? What's new for me?
That's unfortunate. It almost feels like that's the M. Night portion, and they blew it in the trailer.
Yes. Yeah. Because if the concert was removed from it, I think it would be, and it was shorter, I think it would be a little bit better.
Yeah.
I think if it was just strictly focusing on him trying to escape, but again, they were filling so much time with the concert that he didn't have enough time to do like cool things to escape. He only did like a couple things, as opposed to what I thought would be the whole movie of him doing like sneaking around and being like more like a chameleon almost.
Yeah.
But it doesn't just live up to that. A lot of different things happen. And I'm like, okay. So, I don't think it's bad enough to be a sleeper, but it is like low level keeper. Only if like you enjoy M. Night, even though it doesn't feel like his movie. If you like Josh Hartnett.
Wait till it's out of the theater.
Yeah, definitely wait till it's out of the theater. Catch it on streaming. It's not worth seeing in the theater because the concert's cool. Like that's filmed well and the music's good.
But it's not what you're there for.
It's not what you're there for.
Man, I really wanted that to be good.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So, but who knows? Maybe you'll see it and you'll love it.
But maybe not.
Maybe not. Do you have anything in movies, Brett?
Maybe not.
Maybe. That's all I'll talk about in movies.
Wait, do I have anything?
You have nothing listed, I don't think.
No. No, I don't. Video games.
Okay.
All right.
Video games.
Tim,
Yes.
something crazy happened this week.
What?
I mean, something you're just not going to believe it, dude.
What happened?
I finished a video game. I know.
That's crazy.
I know. It's been a minute.
What is this, game number 3 this year?
I think it might be. Actually, I could tell you right now. My guess is it's like 7.
I'm going to say...
It's literally
5.
7.
It is?
Yep.
Dude, not bad.
Wow.
That's better than most people in a lifetime if they were born before 1970. Because video games didn't exist.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Well, I guess if they were born, they would have to die before 1970. So anybody... Brett, you're better than like 95% of human existence.
Large percentage, yeah, you're right.
Probably even more, 99%.
I mean, it's just for this year. It's not my whole life. Anyways, I wanted to follow up on this because I brought up a game called Close to the Sun a couple weeks ago. And, or was it last week? No, it was a couple weeks ago. And it's on Game Pass. It is
Wake me up when this segment's over.
Yeah, dude, it just gets worse. So, as I described a couple weeks ago, it is very BioShock-esque in setting, and you play as a journalist who is going to find her sister, who went on this ship that Nikola Tesla commissioned all these scientists to get on and just take off and start messing around with science and time.
Did they say anything about the elephants?
No elephants. No elephants came up.
Worse.
Tim said something about how Tesla like
look
invented
it
zombie elephants or whatever.
Yeah.
So you get on it, you get on the ship, and the settings look really, really beautiful. And
Edison fries an elephant to prove his point. It was Edison.
oh,
that
Edison did it, dude.
Wow, Tesla's the good guy.
Yeah, Tesla's the good
what
guy.
a twist. Poor elephant.
So you get on the ship, and everything around you looks really beautiful, and then eventually you get a few chapters deep, and you find a bunch of dead bodies, and something's ravaged all of the the attendance of this science cruise of mystery. And you get in touch with your sister, and it's mostly a walking simulator. And I had last reported that like it's worth it because it's really pretty, it's short, and you know the story is interesting enough. I was pretty curious. As soon as the story starts progressing more, it's just like, dude, you know everything that's going to happen. You know who not to trust, and there's no twist that's like cool.
Yeah.
It's just
Because
like
you see it all coming?
yeah, it's just like I knew that person was gonna die. I knew that person was not good. I knew this was gonna happen.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say, do you think it was made with the intention that you haven't played one of those games before? Like, do you think if this was the first time someone played this, it would be good? Or do you
What do you
think-
mean?
Like,
What do you mean by those?
like a
games?
walking simulator. Like, is it good as like an early one? Because I know there are some games that
it's
are
not that old.
No, I know, but I mean, like, do you think they made it with the intention of being like, okay, this is like a more simple type of this game?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean,
because sometimes, like, if you play a bunch of walking simulators and then you play one that's like pretty basic, then it feels not great. But if you played that one first and then started playing better ones, it would be a better game.
Yeah. So I think what happens is, there's 10 chapters, right? And it's similar to what we were talking about earlier, where like once a concept runs its course, you're like, oh, there's not really anything left here. So what happens is you get to, I think it's 3 or 4 chapters before you have an action sequence. And that's kind of cool because all of a sudden there's like this monster chasing you. You never get a weapon in the game, but it's basically, it's not quite a quick time event, but all you can do is run and hit action when you're either supposed to jump over or go under something. The first time you do it, it's kind of cool and you're like, oh shoot, I wonder what else is like going to happen. There's, you go through 3 whole chapters. They're not super long, but you're just walking, picking stuff up, whatever. I'm not a huge like collectibles guy. I like, if they're fun, I am. I'm not a huge like finding newspaper articles and reading, 10 pages per level guy. I want to play the game. I love Remedy, but anyways, this is one of the concepts that runs its course really fast. By like the 4th chapter, you've read so many things, and some of them are literally, dude. So later in the game is when I really started to be like, all right, I'm like pretty done. Because there is one other chase scene that's like really cool. This guy that you think is dead attacks you and... Oh, no, wait. No, this is a guy that you think is a friend. I forget. Something happens and this guy starts chasing you. And it's pretty cool just because it's like, maybe it's just because it's the flash of excitement. Because I should say, like, none of these sequences are like, whoa! Like, you're just running around, but it adds a little tension and it's kind of cool. But then later in the game, things start to get, like, really frustrating, at least to me. I think it's because I started to check out. So, like, you start finding pages and literally, like... One of the levels, all the pages are just like a blueprint for Tesla's ship. And then you look at it and then that's it. And then you find another one. It's like a blueprint for a drill and that's it. And that's one of your collectibles. And I'm like, what? This is so stupid and like pointless. And there are a couple like timed events. Like there's this outside thing where this electrical pulse is exploding and you need to get behind things before the pulse and you need to time it properly. I kept dying a bunch because it's really confusing where you're supposed to hide. And then if you die, it just brings you to the next spot you were trying to get to. So I literally, like the last time I died, it spawned me in front of a switch. So I guess I was close enough that it, and I was like, so I just pulled the switch and then I went inside and I was done. I was like, all right, this is super janky. And then in chapter 8, there is this part. All you can do is run in this game. So I'm going to try to describe this to you. There's a stairwell, and behind that stairwell is a glass window into a lab, right? And you can see around you, there's all these blue particles. And this is indicative of the potential for monsters to appear. And because they're like some kind of time anomaly or something. It's a classic, like scientists screwed stuff up. And now bad things are happening. Everyone's dying.
Typical scientists.
Unbelievable, dude. Every time.
Why even have science?
That's what I'm saying, dude. Ban all science.
Get rid of it.
What has it ever done for us?
Nothing.
Dude, I can't think of a single thing.
I don't science any day.
I know it helped with dog food recently.
Okay.
Have you seen those ads?
No.
I kept getting these ads on YouTube videos.
Where it's like science did
that. And I wasn't really paying attention because it's YouTube ads.
Yeah.
And one day I heard one and I was like, what is this ad? And I paused it and I was like, this is for dog food? I mean, good for dogs and science, I guess, but
what'd science do for
pretty I wasn't saying easy science. I didn't say you didn't do anything. It's like, here, we made food for your dog. Science did that.
Okay.
So anyway, science also created these time anomalous freaking blue creatures or whatever.
Sure.
So stairwell, glass window into a lab. You have to walk. So you can't go down the stairwell. You have to go around it and then straight and then around a corner and there's a switch. And what you have to do is pull that switch, run back towards the window where, guess what? A monster materializes and jumps out.
I would have never guessed.
Down the stairs, around the corner, around the stairwell, through a couple beams, pull another lever, and then get through a door.
That sounds annoying.
It is annoying, but so far, like every one of the running sequences, I've been able to do either once, like right away, or sometimes if you take a left instead of a right, like you die because you hit a wall, and then it's just you replay it and you start to memorize it. So it's kind of silly, but they've never been that difficult. This one, the time is so tight, I just kept dying, like over and over and over again. And I bring it up because, like, to get that annoying that late in the game, especially for like a simple mechanic, it's not like a boss fight where it's like, oh, this is hard, but I'm going to figure it out. Yep. It's literally just like, I don't have time. Like, I'm cutting corners, I'm looking down, I'm doing weird tricks because it's all first person. I'm trying to, like, maybe if I hit the view stick to the left as soon as I go around, it's faster. I don't know. So inevitably I look it up, which feels ridiculous. But it literally was so hard that I was like, am I doing the right thing? And I look it up, and one of the first thing that comes up is a Reddit post. It's like, I didn't want to look this up, but I'm literally doing it to make sure I'm doing the right thing. And all the comments are like, I've done it 38 times. I can't do it. You're doing the right thing.
Nothing
it just
feels
sucks.
better when you see a bunch of people
I was like,
agreeing
good.
with you.
It's not me. Like, this game's supposed to take like 4 hours, and I've taken like 3.5 on this one part. I'm wildly exaggerating. It's probably 20 minutes, but I'm just like, what is going on? And it just sucks because every time you die, you go back like just before the stairwells. You have to walk around, pull the thing, do it again, watch the death animation. It's so silly. And that's the other thing. The animations, like the figures and the action sequences, because you do see these monsters kill a couple people. They look real goofy, dude. Yeah. They're like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like the type of graphics where things are moving too fast. Like someone gets thrown up against a wall, and it's like
the physics are just not.
The physics are all wrong. And things look good, but then you get a person or a monster in view. Like the environments look good.
Yeah.
But then it just like, it drops at multiple points once these figures are actually visible. So yeah, man, it was kind of a bummer because I'm like that late into the game. And then I finished it and I was just like, well, I mean, it's whatever. I finished it. I kind of knew what was going to happen.
I can't believe you've dedicated this much podcast time to this game.
I am feeling like I've just talked about it for way too long.
Last week, you convinced, or 2 weeks ago, whenever you talked about it, I was like, I'm never going to touch this game. And now I just listen. Like, I don't even want to look at what it looks like anymore.
Well, it looks good. Like, it legit looks pretty decent.
Is it a keeper or sleeper, though? That's the important question.
I know.
Was it worth your time? All this negative you said about it. Boring.
Hang on, I got to tell you one other thing.
Let's hear it.
So the voice acting is really good for everyone except your main character. She's real rough.
Dude, it's like that stupid other game, the one with the metal ballerinas, and it was like BioShock, but it really sucked. I fell asleep playing it.
Oh my gosh, dude. Friggin'
what is the name of that game?
I'm not going to be able to Atomic Heart.
Yes. It's like that. Did you play it?
Till I fell asleep.
Yeah, till you fell asleep.
Legit fell asleep in a boat or whatever. I also fell asleep playing that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Everyone else is like, I'm like, this is pretty decent. And then bro, the main character is so rough. Dude. You can see how lines, now I kind of analyze stuff like this, but you can see lines in her saying them and hear how it was supposed to be said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wish I could remember the example, but there was one thing where she goes like, she's definitely supposed to be like, oh. And she goes, oh. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I'm like, that response is not accurate for what that other person said.
Terrible voice director.
So there's a bunch of stuff like that. And then the writing at the very end, I think it's chapter 9 or 10. It's one of the last chapters. There's a big showdown between two characters and you're not involved in it. You're just watching it. And these are like high-class scientists, highly intelligent people about to fight. And one of them goes, get out of the way, or like whatever, like some kind of threat. And the scientist goes, make me. And then the scientist gets like attacked. And I'm just like, make me?
Make me?
That's what we wrote at the climax? Very silly.
Whatever Brett gives it, it's automatically a sleeper. I don't care what he gives it.
It's tough. So here's what I would say. Like the first half of it, it wasn't that bad. Like it's fine. It's fun enough. But I think it wears out its welcome. I wish it was like as short as it is, it's not a long game. But you're not doing anything. You realize after like 6 chapters, you're flipping switches and walking around. There's not really any puzzles except there's one level where you have to like turn
like a crank or whatever.
Yeah, like cranks throughout this boiler room. But it's barely a puzzle, and you're just reading notes and newspapers. It's just boring. And here's the only thing: if you're like an achievement hunter, this is easy achievements. Like it's the levels aren't huge. Like you could find all the stuff. I didn't bother. I found what I could as I was going, but I wasn't interested enough. I did fall asleep one time playing this level because it was just walking.
I think that's
walking.
an automatic disqualification.
If you literally fall asleep, it's a sleeper. I think maybe that's fair. Yeah, I would just say there's and this is a tough thing. If you're a longtime listener, you probably know, like, I don't know how you feel, but I feel bad giving sleepers because I know how much goes into these things.
I know. When it wastes my time, I don't feel bad.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, it felt like there's so many, the gaming landscape is so vast now that it's like I wish I played anything else, but it's not my biggest regret. Like there are definitely other games that I finished and I was like that sucked. I wouldn't say this sucks, but I would say it's probably run its course. Like it's 5 years old at this point. There's so many better things. I think like I forget the name of the developer or what else do you call it?
Publisher?
Yeah. I would try another game from them, like if it came out recently, but this one it feels dated. So I'm going to say Sleeper, Close to the Sun's a sleeper.
Okay.
Sorry it took so long. I had a lot to say about it, I guess. I don't know.
I'm glad because it is worth like commenting on the art and examining all the elements.
Yeah.
Even if the game's not great, it's nice to talk about what you don't like about it and why it was frustrating.
And here's the thing. I would say play BioShock. Play something, play a game that has one of those like older, I guess just BioShock. I don't know what else is in that era that looks great and plays as well as BioShock games. But you could, if you don't care about achievements or if you're playing on PC or something like that, try out a level or two. Like if you have it on Game Pass and just look at how good it looks. But after 2 or 3 levels, you've seen the whole ship. They all look the same. There's a theater you go to and like maybe chairs are in different places, but and I'm underselling the environments a little bit. You do see different things. You see some labs, but it's just walls and tables and charts. Like it all is kind of recycled stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, what's funny is I've had something in notes for a while that I can tie this to, which I think it's in a very funny way. So far, I feel like on this podcast, everything I've said is very funny, is like mildly entertaining. So take it with a grain of salt. I don't know what that phrase means.
Take it with a grain of salt?
Yeah, what? You need something to make it taste better?
Yeah, like take it...
What the hell's a grain of salt doing for you?
Take it with a grain of salt. It's like you...
I don't know what tongue-in-cheek means. Is that what you do when you have a grain of salt? You have to press the grain against your cheek real hard to taste it.
Dude, don't... I know what they mean in the sense of when you use them, but what do they mean?
And then why are there birds in the bush, and what is it worth?
That one we still don't know. That one doesn't make any sense. But yeah, like, take it with a grain of salt. Like, so I always took it as like salt, like a grain of salt. So you're taking the information,
right?
And the salt is like harsh, is like, be prepared that it might not be the flavor you want. So the salt.
So you put the salt on it
to make it.
Wouldn't it be a better phrase to be like take it with salt, not a grain of salt?
I don't know, man.
Me neither. So my kids love playing Roblox games.
Oh,
and
God.
I've never really cared about Roblox. I thought it was wild how popular it got, but I'm starting to understand the trends. I mean, or I guess I have for a while. That sounded like I'm 70 years old. I'm starting to understand the trends.
I get it.
Just kind of like looking at modern gaming, like Jazz plays a ton of Geometry Dash. And what he loves about it is it's basically like a game it's a mobile game, but levels are updated like every minute. Like you can refresh and have, so kids these days don't care about beating games. They find a game they love and they just play it, which is cool.
Yep.
And
infinity games.
Yeah, and Roblox is like that because it's so community based and there's so many like custom made games. So you just scroll through and there's new games like every day. It's kind of like its own console in a way, which is pretty cool. So I've always seen the kids, especially over the past year or so, they've been playing horror games on Roblox. And I'm like, what does that even look like? Yeah. So they're always playing with each other or their cousins or something. And a couple weeks ago, the kids were like, "Dad, do you want to play a horror game on Roblox with us tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it."
Why not?
So I was like, "What are the games like?" And they're like, "Oh, we'll show you." So we get on, and they picked a random one. I thought they had one in mind, but they just picked this game called Elmira. And they're all pretty simple, but what's very cool about them, like this game in particular, it has different levels, and like one was in a forest, and you're in this forest, and you have to find multiple keys to unlock. It's almost like a
Slender?
well, maybe, but I haven't played that. What's the asymmetrical one that you hate?
Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, it's almost like Dead by Daylight. There's a monster stalking the woods, and you have like audible signs of when it's near you, but you have to find these like 3 keys that are, you find hints, and then you have to use those hints to find the keys, and then you go back and like unlock this thing, get these pieces, bring them to the center, and then you've beaten the level. So it's a very like concise, small, like everybody can sit down and play it and be done with it. You know, we played for like maybe an hour.
Were all
or 2.
3 of you playing together?
Yeah.
What were you playing on?
I was playing on Xbox. Jazz was on his Xbox, and Sim was on an iPad.
Okay.
So that's the other thing that's cool, is it's like so multi-platform. But the reason I bring it up now is that was super fun. And there was another game we played called Doors, which is super popular. You've probably played or seen Doors.
Yeah, I played that one with Jazz, actually.
That game, essentially, not even essentially, it does have all of and more action than Close to the Sun does. Because the boss fights in that game are essentially running from the primary creature that, like, you know, if it catches you, you're done. It's literally what happens in Close to the Sun. When the creature catches you, it turns you around, you see a death animation.
Yeah.
But indoors, it's a little bit more puzzly, and there are other creatures that like will show up, and you have to listen for audio cues, hide in a locker.
Yeah, so there's like more gamified elements.
I think
to it.
Doors is more fun than Close to the Sun because it's
Dude, that's wrong.
because it's multiplayer.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I've had that in the list for a while because it's the first time I really saw the value in like Roblox being like, oh, there's a new game on here, let's just try it. Like if you're playing with other people, I'm so about like the solo experience. I love multiplayers, but you know, we love a good story here at the Keep Up Podcast. Yeah. But that was a very cool, it kind of brought back some of the like, I don't know, the days when you would jump on and play Halo, the days we reminisce about, you know?
The good old days.
Except it was with my kids and in my house. We were all pretty much next to each other, just on different devices.
Yeah, being able to play together is awesome. Sorry, I touched your elbow.
How dare you?
I know. Or did I touch the chair?
I think you touched the chair. I was like, I don't think you touched my elbow. Yeah.
But no, that's cool. I've done the same thing with the kids. They like just pick random horror games. And, but you can do it in Fortnite. You can do it in a lot of games nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's it off the top of my head. We used to, you remember in Trials?
Yes.
I think we were hanging out one night and we picked a horror game and went through it.
Yeah.
And it was weird too because you could play it in first person and walk around and stuff.
That element of Trials is super cool though. Like if you're just chilling, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I would literally say skip Close to the Sun and find a group of friends to play some Roblox horror games with.
It's free, multi-platform.
It's free. It really is. Like there's so many different things on there. Remember wasn't there like a sports game in Trials too where you had to like get the basketball in... Was that Trials? Or was that Fortnite? You had to like shoot a ball and get it in a hoop or something?
I think that was Fortnite.
You remember what I'm talking about?
Shoot a ball and get it into a hoop? Trials had everything. I know Fortnite we did like the obbies and stuff.
It was the worst
Dude, that was
night of
the
my
best.
life.
Yeah, they have all these different... But no, I think you're right about Trials.
I feel like there was something with a basketball because those games were ridiculous.
Yeah.
Dude, Trials is the best.
I know. I wish they made a new one. I want another one.
I know, me too.
But so Elmira is a keeper.
Elmira is a keeper. That's a fun one. If you got a couple people you want to hang out and play that with, it's fun. And especially, I don't know, if you have kids that are into games and you're looking for something to play with them, like just play Roblox together. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, if you're with a group of people and you want, I'm trying to think if like. I feel like I could hang out with you and some friends and play it and just pick. It's fun to pick random games because we did pick some. There's some that suck.
Oh yeah. The problem with Roblox is it's hard to actually legitimately ask anybody to play it. Everyone's like, "Is that a kid's game?" Or "I'm not going to play that." So I think that would be the challenge, is getting people to like realistically play it.
That was me. Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. Like it really has no value to me outside of like doing a multiplayer thing.
Yeah.
But then even some of the games, like I've played this game with Jazz before, where you just literally go to the beach and work out. And we were just cracking up.
And you had to get as big as possible.
Yeah, you just
right?
try to blow up, and there's people walking around. You also get taller,
Yeah.
which doesn't make any sense. So it's like just that kind of gaming that's like very goofy and just kind of hanging out.
It's just fun. It's what gaming used
just
to
fun.
be about.
Why do you guys hate fun so
I
much?
know. Nobody enjoys fun. Well, speaking of not enjoying fun, I got some things to talk about.
Oh yeah, dude, tell me about it.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago I talked about completing Ninja Gaiden, the original.
Yeah.
And saying it was one of the hardest things ever. And it sucks, and it was a sleeper only because of its difficulty. Well, I've since then played Ninja Gaiden 2.
Why?
Ninja Gaiden 2, what's it called? I didn't even write the full name. Anyways, it's not the 360 one, it's the second of the NES.
Yeah.
And it's more of the same. It's just more Ninja Gaiden. I will say the character spawns are much nicer.
Okay, closer to where you died, kind of
Yes,
thing. More
yeah.
checkpoints.
Yeah, exactly. Closer. It's nice because there are not as many enemies. So as you're going through the game, even when you get to the end stages, it's just less enemies. So it's a little nicer in that regard. But the rest of it, it's the same. You get hit back when you get hit. There's still annoying enemies that will hit you. But now I think about it, there wasn't really as many projectiles either.
Dude, getting knocked back in a platformer is like the worst thing that's ever happened in video games.
Yes, and it sucks when it's such a challenging game like Ninja Gaiden. It sucks in Castlevania too. Castlevania is
Mega Man,
yeah. Oh, so it's always a frustrating mechanic. But so the new thing that they added to the game is you get shadow clones. So which I've learned is much better than how I utilized it in the game later on. But so essentially you'll get a shadow clone, and he'll follow like 5 steps behind you. So if you like run and jump and keep slicing and drop, and then you have to move a couple feet, your shadow clone will run and go in that spot. So you can essentially put the clone where you were. Like if you're fighting a boss, you can put the clone there and keep attacking, but your body's out of the way, so you can fight bosses without your body, which is pretty cool. Very helpful for the last boss of the game. So those are neat. You can have 2 of those at once, so you can have like kind of a long path.
That's
but
sick.
If you die, you lose them. Same with any of the power-ups and things like that. But yeah, it's essentially more of the BS, even to the point where
Tim hates these games. Bro.
Oh my god, where the final boss, again, if you lose at any of the 3 phases, you restart the whole final stage. They brought it back. They brought the mechanic back.
Dude. Back by popular demand.
Yeah, who was
because you
asking for
loved it
that?
in the first one. An unbeatable final boss.
Yo, so annoying. So that boss, not nearly as bad. I also was using save states, so I totally cheated the boss.
Dude,
this
after your
time.
first experience, I didn't think Tim was ever going to play a video game again.
I was burned, man. I was burned. But I wanted to see how the other ones compared and if they changed. And but most of everything else is the same. You can climb walls, and the other one you had to jump back and forth.
Cool.
But you can climb walls. So there are like a little updates, but it's better only because I didn't play it as intended.
Yeah.
Save states, rewinds, whatever I had to use to get through.
So you played the first one with none of modern technology's benefits. Hated it.
Right.
Played the new one.
Yes.
Or the second one with all of modern technology's benefits, and it's okay.
It went up a point. So if the other one was the sleeper, it's like lowest of the lowest keepers.
It's still a keeper?
Well, I don't know. Can I call it a keeper if you have to use save states and rewinds to enjoy it?
Would you?
I would argue it's more beatable. Because of the annoying, like I didn't die nearly as much.
Yeah.
Even with like rewinding and stuff like that, I was still like playing pretty well. But I'm also like kind of fresh off the last one, so maybe I'm a little more skilled. But so if I have to rank it on if let's say you don't use save states, you don't use rewinds, it's probably still a sleeper because it's obnoxiously difficult. And that final boss, having to restart the whole final stage.
That's brutal.
Because, in most other games, it makes sense if you lose, like if you get a game over, you have to either restart the whole game, as a lot of them did, or you have to restart to like the beginning of the area. This is seriously sets you like 4 levels back. And that level, it's not nice. It's not fun to go through the first time. So.
That's the tough thing just with like older games in general. We're so spoiled now.
Yep.
And it's like, would that game be better back in the day? Like if you got it If you were your age now when that game came out,
Yes.
would you have fun with it? Because that's just how games are. They're hard. They take time.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like it feels advanced in some ways. Because
Yeah.
again, you can like run up walls and there's some cool upgrades, and it's like you don't, unlike a lot of other games, when you get a game over, it's not the end of the game. You can't get a game over in Ninja Gaiden.
That is pretty cool.
So that's
pretty
always
forgiving.
a benefit. Is it's forgiving, but because of its high difficulty threshold, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
So
Wild.
I don't know. It's still rough to say, but if you have save states and stuff, it's at least beatable.
Yeah.
It's at least doable. But
What is your take on I forget because you told me a couple weeks ago, but on Ninja Gaiden 3, like Razor's Edge.
it's all right. It's definitely playable. The original is rough. It has some really like annoying points, and then they did Razor's Edge and they fixed a lot of that annoying stuff, so it's better.
But it's still not great.
If you're gonna play it, play Razor's Edge.
Yeah.
And it's better. It's better because you get different weapons. The first one the original, you got like some weapons, but this one gives you like all the weapons.
Okay.
And dismemberments. They stopped dismemberments in that one.
And they put him back in Razor's Edge?
I believe so, yeah.
Because I was thinking about playing the trilogy, but playing Sigma... Is the second one Sigma 2?
Yeah,
Okay.
Sigma 2, and then Razor's Edge. Which those are okay. I still like the originals a little bit better, but for certain things.
Why?
Sigma 2 specifically has... there was some difference. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to look into it. But there was something that I didn't like as much in Sigma 2. I think it was like censorship. I think only the Xbox 360 version had egregious amounts of blood, and Sigma really dropped it down.
Whack!
I think you can still dismember and stuff, but I know they were kind of
Dude,
iffy
I
around that
remember
time.
2 being insane with the blood and
2
gore.
is
It was wild.
disgusting.
Yeah.
So I believe the 360 version is the only one that has like aggressive dismemberments, and then they
Interesting.
pulled it back. I think that was it, though. I don't think like you can still use the weapons. The Sigma version of 1's better because you can use all the weapons from like Ninja Gaiden 2, and that's really cool. Because you got a couple weapons in that one. You got like the what's it called, Vigorian flail, which is like just a flail. But it's 2 of them, like nunchucks, but with the sharp edge. So you got a couple cool weapons, but this one gives you all of them. So, but yeah, I would play because they have the Master Collection on Game Pass. Yeah, so play that. You'll be good.
Whatever, dude. You're making me sad about it.
Whatever. I know we're running a little late, but I got well, actually, before we get into our final subject, technically not at the beginning, but our post show, there was a question that was posed.
Oh, I forgot about
after
it.
the credits. So now I got to bring it up here.
Yeah. All right, do it.
So, Brett, I proposed a question to you.
Yeah, I should have been thinking about it.
Now you're gonna have time while I slowly say what the question is.
I don't remember it, so say it.
Okay. What game console, would you trade and never be able to play again for your holy grail of game collecting? Whatever, I don't know what you're looking for as your holy grail at this point.
Can it be multiple things? Can the grail be multiple things?
It depends on what it is.
All right.
I'll hear you out. You'll have to tell me what
Can
it
it be any console in history?
Any console you own currently.
Oh.
Because if it's console in history, you can just go to like Atari 2600.
All right. If I get rid of a certain console, does that mean I can't play the games on that console?
Unless it's been ported to new consoles.
Okay. Oh, mother, father.
If you had to remove, and we could make it easier and say any console you've played in your life, maybe. But I think what you currently
I think that
own,
would be easier. The harder one is what I currently own.
Right.
I would say... I'm trying to think of what's had more ports.
Yeah. Because realistically, you could play anything on PC, but for this, we're not going to include PC. Like through emulation
I
and
guess
stuff.
my PS4, if I could have complete copies of Kuon, Rule of Rose, and Haunting Ground.
So you would give up your PS4 and the ability to play it ever again for the PS2 horror trilogy.
Because I think on PS5, I could play a lot of past stuff in the store.
Yes.
And many games that I am waiting to play on PS4 have been ported.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because some of them... Because the PS5 can play every PS4 game, minus like 10.
Yeah.
But they don't have ports. So like if you're looking to play like God of War, let's say you've already played it, so you don't need to play it again, but it doesn't have a PS5 version, so you couldn't play
so that doesn't count.
Right.
If I just because I can play it in the store doesn't mean oh, damn it.
But like certain things do have remasters, like Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man, like those PS4 versions have PS5, so you could play
never
those.
be able to play like God of War would hurt.
Yeah. Because, I mean, PS4 has like Last of Us. No, you got the remake, so you're good on that. There's not a ton, honestly, that...
Because my first thought was NES.
Yeah.
There are like OG games that I would love to be able to play. Like I never played Zelda.
Yeah.
But
I mean...
I was thinking if I push those things off my plate to get those 3 Grail games...
Yeah.
I might be able to do that.
And I always remind you do have Kuon.
Barely.
Just not complete.
Barely. I have a reprinted case.
Yeah.
And I have an original disc that might be haunted.
That's all that matters, is the disc.
I do have a complete Japanese version, which is cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Dude,
so yeah, PS4, I mean, because a lot of stuff, I'm looking at my collection right now, like exclusives have either been ported.
Wait, my Wii U. I'd get rid of my Wii
U. What are you missing out on the Wii U? Star Fox Zero, man? Smash Bros. For Wii U?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not missing much on that.
There we go. That's my answer. Wii U, and I get the horror trilogy.
That's pretty good. Pretty good trade.
What about you?
I would.
You have a lot of consoles, so you have more options than me.
I would probably. I hate the Wii. I hate the Wii so much.
You do?
I would probably get rid of the Wii.
What about Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles?
You can play that on PS3. They got both of them with motion controls. What do I miss out on? I miss out on
Wii Sports,
Metroid Prime 3, technically. Wii Sports, yeah. But they have Wii Sports Plus.
What about Mario games? Mario Tennis.
I can play on GameCube.
Mario
Super
Baseball.
Paper Mario I can't play.
Yeah. Galaxy?
Smash Bros. Brawl would suck.
Brawl. Galaxy 1
yeah.
and 2.
Yeah, Galaxy would suck to miss out on. But I mean, I've already done them at this point.
Galaxy was great.
Galaxy 2 I really like.
Never played 2.
2's wicked good.
That on Wii?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I'd probably get rid of the Wii. And as far as the Holy Grail, there's so many weird, obscure things I want that I don't even know. I would love to get like the Sonic Adventure Limited Edition, which is nothing. It's literally has like, I think like different music in the main menu, but it's just the normal game.
Yeah.
It was like a Blockbuster exclusive, but it's like $1,000. But I just want every Sonic Adventure.
Yeah,
thing,
right.
so.
Of course.
Yeah, that's something that's really high up there.
So you'd give up the Wii and all its games just for that?
Just for a game I already have.
Yeah, just for a different title music?
Yeah. Different title music and maybe different dialogue or something. It's nothing different. Like, it's literally just the case.
But would you? Like, if I had it right now and I was like, I'll give you this.
No, I don't think I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would legit do that.
Yeah. I'd have to think on my holy grails because there's a lot of things like the Wii or the GameCube. I'd love to have a complete collection, but there's a lot of games on it that are dumb expensive. But I have all the ones that like I really want.
Yeah, you have a good collection.
PS2. It'd be cool to get some of the horror stuff.
Sorry, dude. I already took them.
I would want something really obscure though. Like I want the Pokemon VHS player with the Pikachu remote. It's a blue VHS.
Oh,
player.
I
told you that, and it's got like
it's called
Pokeball.
a VCR.
Sorry, VCR. It's a VHS player too, though.
Player.
Both are good.
It's crazy.
So that was that question. So if I can think of a better Holy Grail, I'll report back.
Whatever. Tim doesn't even answer the question.
I'll get rid of my Wii for fun. We'll burn it
for fun. I'll exchange it for fun.
All right. I got to go to comics before we leave.
Okay, let's do it.
Have you read anything good lately?
What it is.
Okay, I got 2 quick things.
Okay.
First off, do you remember, brother?
Member.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
A while ago, we were perplexed on the Alien comics.
We were, yeah.
Because what I showed at the time,
strange.
It was they kept like restarting the numbers, and there was like different art, and 20th Century Fox came in. So I finally read those comics.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Okay.
So where it ends off, what the reason behind all this is the entire team was replaced. The artists, the writers, the whole, and not replaced like fired. They just brought in a new team.
Is it a new arc?
It is. So it still connects loosely to the original. So I believe it was 3 or 4 arcs in the original run.
Okay. And
so-
that went up to what? Because I'm trying to remember, just if you didn't listen to that episode, it
Yeah.
was like so confusing. It was like Aliens issues 1 through 5. And
Yeah.
then it was like Aliens issues 1 through 5 again, but same title. And then it was
Yes.
like Alien, but a different publisher with like the same team. It was so confusing.
Yeah, so the first 12 issues are 2 different arcs. But they had it as one whole series.
Yeah.
But it's 2 different arcs. And then a new arc starts, and that's Alien 1 through like 6 or whatever.
Okay.
And that's arc 3. And I believe that's where it ends. And that's all the original team. And then you have like Aliens Aftermath, which is an annual. And then they have a separate annual for the same thing.
That's right. Okay, I forgot about that.
So the number was confusing there. And then there was a whole new run of arcs that I was confused because then it was like 1 through 4 and then 1 through 4 again. But it looked like the same characters. I'm like, what's going on? So yeah, what happens is they transition to a whole new team.
Okay.
So it wasn't like it changed studios specifically or anything. Or not studios, publishers or comic book groups. I don't know what to call them.
Publishers.
Yeah, publishers. So no, it was just a whole new team got brought on. So, but it still connects to the original arc.
Yeah.
Only by like dialogue the character says. Like they'll say something like,
yeah, they'll reference it.
Right. Did you see what happened at this space station? And then they're like, read Aliens. But the problem is the naming convention, they name each arc. So, like, the previous arc was called, like, Icarus or whatever. So they're like, read
that makes
Aliens.
it super confusing.
Yeah, because none of the comics actually have the arc names unless you open the comic. So, like, it says read Icarus Alien Comics or Alien Icarus, but you can't just type in
It doesn't
Alien.
say that on the cover? What?
It's all inside the book. So I'm like, oh. So you have to be aware of whatever they're called.
That's
And
super confusing.
Even funnier, the first issue of the new arc said there's 6 issues. It said, like, 1 of 6. But there's only 5
Oh my gosh, dude.
because I guess they stopped it early or whatever.
What the heck? This is Marvel, too. What are they doing?
I don't know. So then you open issue 2, and then it says 2 out of 5.
That's brutal.
So they intended for it to be 6, and then didn't. But there was so now there's
What the
part
heck?
2 of the arc, and that continues the first arc. But that also restarts through 1 through 4.
That's brutal.
Yeah. So the only thing I can think of for the reason behind it is they want people to jump on. Like, they don't want people to, like, be confused and be like, okay, I'm not going to pick up issue 19. I'm going to, says number 1, so I'm going to get it. But if you look up Alien number 1, there's 5 of them right now.
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely not the move. Because
No.
it's like, if you look at any ongoing, they have jump on parts.
Yes.
Points. It'll even say, like, new arc, great jump on point,
Yep.
or whatever. And then throughout that, it'll, like, if it's like issue 20, you know you have 1 through 19 to get
Yep.
if you want to get the story before it, or you could just jump on there. Like, it's just very weird to do that for that reason. If you're looking it up and the subtitle of the arc not being on the cover is crazy.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah. So they're all named different things, and you just have to be reading them and know what they're called.
I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't make much more sense now. It just seems way like
It's stupid, I know.
but yeah, I get, because even throughout, like, I'm thinking of Turtles immediately, like the team changes throughout the art will change randomly and
Yep.
stuff like that, but it's still the same ongoing
Right.
story.
They didn't
you know?
need to, like, make it a whole new thing.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
seems
know.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, so that was enlightening, but not the best answer.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's I guess enlightening is the word.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So the comics are still good. I think, and I said this problem originally with them is they just are recycling the same story again. It's they're in an isolated place. Aliens show up. Bad things happen. Almost everybody dies.
Yeah.
End of the comic. That's pretty much
That's
every
the
single
story,
arc.
yeah.
I will say arc 3 was cool though because it was a different take on it. It was about a big group of what are they called? Androids. And they were they were going to fight some aliens. So it was cool. It was a little different. But
That's cool.
Then
Yeah.
the new arc starts and it's the same story. I'm like, oh. So, but it's still, I mean, I still like aliens, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And the final thing I need to get to is Sonic music. But also, not that wasn't it. I started trying to read the Avengers.
Okay.
And I read a million different articles, a million different people's opinions on where to start to read
Sure.
the Avengers. Because I don't want to start at the beginning. I think old Marvel, too boring, too wordy for me.
Yeah.
You know, like Stan Lee, like I appreciate, and Jack Kirby, I appreciate all the stories they have and
course.
stuff. It's too dry.
Yeah,
Too
yeah.
dry. So I was trying to find a good starting point. And what I read, and what I decided to do was read Avengers Deassembled.
Okay.
Disassembled. I can talk. Avengers Disassembled.
So far, we definitely know what the title is, for sure, without question.
I don't. Am I as bad as the Alien?
Yeah.
Alien
I'm starting to
comics?
think the numbering of Alien was Tim's doing.
It was my idea. Avengers Disassembled.
Okay.
And so what this is the conclusion to the original run of the Avengers.
Okay.
So if you read Avengers, it's 1 through 500. And so this comic is issue 499 to 503.
Okay.
And that's when it ends. And then that's when New Avengers starts. However, this Avengers series does come back later on. And it
Wait, the
picks
new
up-
Avengers like Brian Michael Bendis?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
What year did that start?
The whatever year it started, 2004, 5, I don't know. I don't know the timing of it, but
Yeah, I'm just thinking I didn't realize how long the original run of Avengers was.
right. So I think there were, some hiatuses over the years and some things. But yeah, it's just Avengers 1 through 503 is the original run.
Yeah.
And then New Avengers starts. And then they do Ultimate Avengers and a bunch of different things. But this Avengers do come back later. You looked up the New Avengers TV series.
Cool, nailed it.
Cool.
Hey, don't watch what I'm doing.
I'm just commenting on what you're typing. And so the thing is, starting with Avengers Disassembled is crazy because they kill off 6 characters. They
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
it's crazy because then it leads into House of M, which is another part, a whole thing I got to read. But yeah, it's about how the team needs a reset, and that's why the New Avengers starts, because it's capping off that story of the Avengers.
That is so
So when I
wild.
read it, I was like, oh my god, because the problem is I don't have that connection with these characters or know what stories they go through.
Right.
So when you read the last issue, it's remember when we beat this guy? Remember? So it gives you a recap of the whole Avengers up until that point.
2005.
That's when it ended.
I mean, that's when New Avengers started.
Yeah. So that's when it splits off. And so the Avengers, that series gets put to rest, and New Avengers you read for a long time, however many issues that is. And then at some point Avengers come back, and then you continue from that run.
Now, did no core stories come up for you to read from Avengers? Because I feel like that would be the way to do it. Certain arcs are
Right.
are really I read the Infinity Saga, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
There were some things in there that I was like, I don't know who this guy is.
Right,
I don't know what's
who's
going
this?
on. But I wonder if you could look up key stories to read, and then those you can almost definitely find in trades.
Yeah, there were definitely some lists, and I will do that too, but I wanted to find a good starting point where I could just keep reading from that point on. And so they said Avengers Disassembled, because that will take you to New Avengers, and what I wanted to read was House of M, because I'm in an X-Men mood too, so I was
Yeah.
like, well, let me get to
Yep.
House of M, and they're like, well, you need this, you need to read this. And then I learned how crazy, I've always known, but how crazy difficult it is to read any series before 2018.
Yeah.
Because it's not only that you need to read the comics that lead up to it,
dude.
but then you need a bunch of different comics from different series.
The peripherals are crazy.
And it's just and it's not necessary, but it definitely helps because you need to understand where all these characters are to when this event happens.
When I was reading, when I got really into comics again, I did this with video games too. As a kid, I got super into it
Yep.
and then fell off for a little bit. And then I was like, oh, it's all gotten better. I'm back.
I'm back,
so,
baby.
I did that with comics when I stopped reading because I had the unspoken tragedy of losing all my comics. And then I came back. It must have been early. It was late. How do you talk about that period? Late early 2000s. Because I remember it was in mine and Rachel's first apartment that I was going to a comic shop down the street once a week. And I remember my pile of books started getting pretty expensive. But I was reading New Avengers. It's so good. I love Bendis. He's
Yeah.
such a good writer. He's so fun. And then Dark Avengers started coming out, and I was like, "Oh, I'll try these," and they're so good. And I'm like, "Crap!"
That's what I want to start getting through.
It's like I wish these sucked because now I have to buy these every week. It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah,
that stuff is so cool.
I'm really looking forward to it because then I know there's Ultimate. There's obviously Ultimate Spider-Man.
I didn't read a lot of Ultimate stuff.
Yeah, so and I don't know when that comes into play, if that was before or after New Avengers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so confusing.
Yeah.
Because then when I'm looking up like a complete list, there's a ton of like paperback, like trade paperback books and short arcs and really long arcs and individual character arcs and like X-Men. I was looking up X-Men stuff, and there's an origins for every character. There's X-Men Origins, Cyclops, and Beast, and Wolverine, and then Wolverine has like 80 different spin-off comics.
Of course.
But I don't know if I can like just pick one and it be like a collection of comics from a different series, or do I need to know the context of this Wolverine?
Right.
It's so difficult.
I mean, a lot of that stuff, it's like they kind of knew what a mess it was. So you could open it up and it would often have a paragraph of like, here's what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Or it might start with like, you know, after the events of issues, whatever. And then if you want, you could be like, all right, I'm going to go get those issues first.
Right, but then I get to those issues, and so I'm like, oh, I got to read what happened before so I can figure out so
it's tough, man. The world of comics is a wild spider web.
Especially when you're like looking at DC and Marvel mostly.
Dude, DC was way worse. That's actually what kept me from, I was trying to stay up with the mains of both. I was reading Detective Comics and I was reading New Avengers, and then I wanted to read, what was it? Crisis on Infinite Earths, maybe? No, New 52.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Dude, insane. Because there's the primary, and then there's New 52 Batman, New 52 The Flash, New 52 Wonder Woman.
Because every series restarted, essentially.
Crazy, yeah crazy. And then... yeah, it was a lot. And then you could either pick a character or you could go, and they did the same thing with Blackest Night. I got the core, I think it was 5 or 6 issues, Green Lantern, Blackest Night, and then you could do Blackest Night Batman, Blackest Night, like anyone you could think of. Superman's the other one that I was trying to think of.
Character.
But yeah, it's tough because you want to get the whole story, everything going on.
Yeah.
So did you read the Declassified? Or are you going to start there?
Yeah. So I did read the Disassembled.
You did.
Yep. So that's actually in the start of the New Avengers. They started with that.
Cool. Okay.
So you get those issues, and then it leads into New Avengers, which I think it's issue like 1 through 30 or 40 in the omnibus.
Yep.
So then from there, I'll need to find it separately. But
dude,
yeah.
You gotta let me know what you think, because I mean, I literally read those. I mean, probably in 2007, or something like that.
So
crazy.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm definitely, since Deadpool and Wolverine, I've been very like, I want it all. I want to read Wolverine stories. I want to read Deadpool. I want to read Avengers.
Yeah.
So yeah, all that to say, if you want to jump on like Avengers or anything like that, so far it seems like a good starting point. Reading Disassembled, and so they have the omnibus, which is just like a huge collection. But
yeah, it's massive.
I don't know if they do those anymore.
I don't know. I mean,
a lot of things went digital.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still like trade collections and stuff.
For sure.
So yeah, it's very confusing. But from my understanding, it's still the same Avengers team from that old series, but now just put in like new writers and all that stuff. So
that's cool. It does change. When I read it, like Avengers, where I was in the series, Avengers were getting added and like taken away. There was a lot of cool stuff happening, which that's what I'm always kind of watching for in the MCU. Like, are they moving towards new Avengers stuff? Because there are moments where I'm like, oh. And then there are other things that happen that I'm like, oh no, that's not the team that I knew.
I mean, they have so much to reach from. So
it's a lot.
So I'd love to read Secret Invasion, Secret Wars. I want to do like some of the big old stuff. I'll read for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a cutoff. Like I could probably get away with like late 80s.
Yeah.
90s I can read. Still a little like, I don't know, cheesy. Sometimes
I feel
hard
like
to read, but
I could be wrong, but I feel like DC stuff from that era was better.
I would not be surprised, because I've seen a lot of Marvel and it's like okay, but I don't know where DC was at that point.
Just I feel like the Batman stuff was pretty good. Like there are definitely some late 80s, early 90s Batman arcs that I know are worth going back and reading.
Yeah. Batman's confusing too, because you have Detective Comics and Batman, and they're two huge series.
Yeah.
Because Batman, I think, or Detective Comics might have just recently crossed 1,000 or something like that.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it's insane. But all that to say, Comics are great.
Comics are great.
And we should end the podcast because we've been going on forever.
We should, yeah. This is a long one. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. It's been episode number 297, which is pretty wild. I'll mention this early in the show next week, but we are coming up to episode 300. We have a very special surprise for episode 300. We're super stoked about it. But I want to give you a heads up. We are going to be taking a month off, at least a month off.
Oh my God.
After episode 300 to generate some content for YouTube, to plan a little bit for our other platforms. And to, just kind of like regroup and come back with some cool, fun stuff for everybody.
Yeah.
We'll still be active. We still have like a lot of videos and clips and stuff to post on our socials. If you are not, you can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at The Keep Up Podcast. And you can get yourself some extra bonuses at patreon.com/TheKeepUp. If you are subscribed on Patreon, you'll still get the normal stuff that month as well. I believe it's going to be the month of September, but it kind of depends where our last episode falls this month. If we stay on schedule, that should be it. But stuff happens, you know what I mean?
But back just in time for the creep up.
Yes, we will 100% be back in October. We're planning a special event for the October special this year. And there was another thing. Oh, listen, if you are not, please subscribe on YouTube. We are 15 subs away from 500. And we want to know, what do you guys want to see for to celebrate 500? We want to make a video.
Yeah.
Something special.
500.
Tim, don't start giving ideas because someone will be like, yeah, do that. And then one of us will die doing it.
We will.
I'll make a post on Instagram too. But if you guys have any ideas, hit us up at The Keep Up Podcast. Tim, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you and all your stuff?
You guys can find me at Collection Revolution all over the place. That's TikTok. That's Instagram. That's Twitch. That's YouTube. That's Twitter. Wherever else social media accounts exist, that's where I am. So check me out there. Brett,
What?
where can everybody find you in your hideous hamstrings?
I hate this trend. It's so bad. You can find me at This Drink I Like It. That's my personal page. You can also find me at Sounds Like ATA. For my music stuffs, I have a lot going on. I got a bunch of shows coming up. I have one. The show will be over. Show last night was great.
Oh, I was there. It was so good.
But yeah, at Sounds Like ATA on Instagram, TikTok. And you can find my music under Animatronic the Abolisher on all streaming platforms. I got new music coming out soon.
Wow.
I guess that is it. Tim's going to do what's called End Babble, which is where he talks nonsense for about a minute and a half. And your theme is Best Mom Ever.
Okay.
In a deep, dark cave.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Love you.
Our mother is the best mom ever. However, do you know the origin of the best mom ever? Deep within the cavern of darkness. You have to enter Alaska to find this cavern. Not only do you have to enter Alaska, but you have to get through 3 old men of wise legend. One's named Falconeer, and you must bring him a falcon egg to proceed. Another one is named Bingo Dingo, and you have to beat him in a game of bingo to proceed. And finally, you must fight Nail, an old man who never eats alone. And so you must eat dinner with him so he can be happy again. I don't know what happened there.
So he can be happy?
so you can be happy. And once you defeat the 3 old men of wise knowledge, you will find our mother making you some chicken cutlets in the cave of deep, dark, wet darkness. And she will say, have some chicken. And then you'll realize she is the best mom ever. And so I'll leave you with this. Make sure you tell your mom she's the best mom ever. I mean, of course, our mom's the best mom, but it's nice to, a little white lie won't kill her. Won't kill your mom. So, tell her nice things because she deserves it.